Love you.
All right, so we are back. I am Brad Listi here with my
Mira
co-host,
Gonzalez.
Mira Gonzalez, for another episode of Brad and Mira for the Culture, wherein we do what?
We talk about the culture. Brad is an elderly senior citizen. He is, I believe, turning 75 years old today. So congratulations, Brad.
Thank you.
And he does not know a whole lot about pop culture unless it's about the Grateful Dead. So today we're going to be explaining that to him like we do every episode.
Well, let's get into it. I feel like this Abercrombie and Fitch story is breaking, and it seems like a repeat of Jeffrey Epstein and P. Diddy. It's like another sex trafficking operation run by a super rich. What is it? A couple of guys or one guy? Like, it's just I can't believe
one guy, and then he had like a partner helping him. Like, he was like, there's like a main guy and then a second guy. And I mean, this guy looks, just like beyond everything else, which we will get to. His face looks fucked, dude. He looks like, I feel like there's a horror movie person who he looks like. Like, he looks like, oh, fuck.
He looks like he's had bad plastic surgery is what he looks like.
He looks like the homunculus in that movie.
In what movie?
Is it like The Princess Bride or something?
Maybe. With
the one eye all fucked up. Anyways, he's got like really crazy plastic surgery that makes him look kind of like a Frankenstein. Like, he looks kind of like a Gary Busey if he was melting a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, he's got the blonde hair. I feel like he looks sort of like, that famous plastic surgery woman in New York called Cat Lady or whatever. Like, she's had so much plastic surgery that she like looks like a different species. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know her, but she sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if that's what they call her. I don't know if that's what they call her, but I've seen this woman. Like, her face is just like, she's had so many procedures that her face has become like inhuman, essentially. And I feel like this guy, Michael Jeffries, the ex-CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch,
he's approaching
cat lady status. He's had a lot of work done.
And yet he's not seen as a freak until now, so I guess he's the ex-CEO of Abercrombie. And his name is Michael Jeffries. And he got hit with a grand jury with 15 counts of interstate prostitution and 1 count of sex trafficking. It also includes his ex-boyfriend Matthew Smith and James Jacobson, who allegedly recruited men for sex events and made them have sex with him for tryouts.
So this was gay sex, like man on man?
I assume so, because he had a boyfriend. He was gay, so I have to assume yes.
Well, and that's what I mean. Abercrombie is that store where like you walk in and there's like shirtless dudes there to help you, right?
There was, yeah. I feel like they've kind of changed over time, but it used to be like if you're from Los Angeles, like going down the 3rd Street Promenade, for example, like you would walk past Abercrombie and they would literally have shirtless male models out front, like 2 shirtless male models out front with just standing there with no shirt on, basically, like, welcoming you in, but not inside the store. They were outside, and you could smell just like such an intense smell of perfume. They had this like really disgusting, like, what do you call man's perfume?
Cologne.
Yeah, they had this horrifying cologne that you could just smell from like a mile away. And then I think after this guy left, they did a bit of a rebrand. Like, they stopped being so like when we exited the early 2000s and started getting more into like body positivity things, they were like, okay, I guess we're going to stop doing this, which is when this guy left. So like, I mean, it reminds me of like American Apparel, right? Where American Apparel had this very different brands, but like, American Apparel had this very like porn style to it. It was like an aesthetic of pornography. Like, it was like very like unedited, and like, girls were very like nude and whatnot, which is fine. But like, that guy, Dove Charney, also ended up being a fucking creep. And then this Abercrombie guy is also kind of selling his clothing with sex, which fine, everything is sold with sex. But like, he also ended up being a fucking creep. It just really makes you like wonder about everybody else in the world.
Quote, the feds say the defendants engaged in a quid pro quo from 2008 to 2015, leading men to believe they could score modeling gigs with Abercrombie if they participated in the, quote, sex events.
Sex events.
Which really sounds like the, quote, freak-offs described in Diddy's case. I feel like...
What did they describe the sex events as?
In docs, prosecutors say the parties involved large sex toys, high-pressured enemas, and the shaving of men's genitals.
I'm sorry, high-pressured enemas?
That's what it says. That's what I'm reading here on TMZ. I mean, attendees were pushed to drink booze and take Viagra and muscle relaxants called poppers.
Do you know what poppers are, Brad?
No. I mean, isn't it, it's an amyl nitrate? I don't know what they are. Like what it is.
Wow, so you know the scientific name, but...
Well, no, but I don't think amyl nitrate is a muscle relaxer. Maybe it is.
Amyl nitrate?
I thought it was something that you snorted that was supposed to, like, keep you, like, virile or awake or something. It might be an upper. I'd have to Google it, but...
So poppers, I don't know exactly what it is, but you can go to, like, sex shops. It's legal because it's sold as, like a videotape cleaner, but it's just like, it's a little bottle like that, and like you just sniff it, like you just smell the scent of it, and it gives you like a maybe 1 minute tops long head rush. So it's kind of like doing whippets, but it's like, I guess it's supposed to like relax your asshole or something like that, but like really I think it's just like for fun during sex, like you do it and things feel like heightened and exciting for a few minutes or for a minute, and then, you know, you're done and you can inhale them more. I think it's like if you're gonna come or something, maybe it's cool. I don't know. I've done them and they're fun enough, but it's like you can feel your brain cells dying and you're only high for a minute.
Sounds healthy. I just, you know, first of all, I feel like there's something funny about calling your like crazy illegal sex parties sex events.
Yeah, like a freak off makes more sense, but like we're going to a sex event.
Like a freak off sounds kind of cool and like sort of hip hop, and then like sex events sounds like the most corporate white shit ever. We're gonna have a sex event.
I mean, it sounds like going to like a retreat or something, you know, where you like find your body or you like learn how to orgasm. Like we're going to a sex event. And
yeah, what did you do over the weekend, Mira? Oh, you know, I attended a sex event.
I attended a sex event. It sounds like a seminar.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, so like what gets me about this story partially is that like they specifically said that this guy would go to other countries and had people who were recruiting people for this, that he would then like sell to other people basically. So like he was like a recruiter of victims. And like, you know, this might be full conspiracy, so like take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes my brain goes a little too hard, but like the timing of this indictment with the Diddy indictment makes me wonder if there's not some kind of relation there. Is he because we didn't know, no one ever really told us, we don't know yet how Diddy got these people trafficked into his parties, who provided them for him. Like with Epstein, we know that it was Ghislaine Maxwell, right? But with Diddy, we don't really know. We have an idea that like probably the people that he abused brought in some people, Justin Bieber, blah, blah, blah. But there was a lot of people at these freak-offs. He had to procure them somewhere, right?
Yeah. I mean, I just can't believe that this is metastasizing. I can't believe that this pattern of abuse and like crazy, like conspiratorial abuse, like there's a lot of moving parts here. It's not just like one bad dude abusing one person. This is like a systemic, there's like a whole machine in place to make this happen and to sort of satisfy the desires of this twisted sort of CEO figure. And I can't help but wonder if these people are like sexual deviants and sort of twisted in their relationship to other human beings. Like, are these people just sociopaths and sexual deviants from the jump, and then they get really rich, and then it allows them to sort of pursue their darkest fantasies and they get corrupted by their own power?
I mean, yeah, you know, I think that's got to be part of it. I mean, I think like also though, becoming rich doesn't make you a pedophile, right? There's plenty of like rich or like a sex pest.
Wait, was this guy a pedophile? Were these underage kids at
Uh,
in Abercrombie?
well, I know Diddy was a pedophile, but I actually don't know. But I mean, I assume that if you're like just sex trafficking people, like you're not really making sure they're 18. Like just
I mean,
real.
yeah, if you're going to go there. But I just like, I guess the thing is like, was this guy, assuming he's guilty, Michael Jeffries, I mean, this is all like what, alleged or whatever, but like, was Diddy at age 18 or 20, like already like a sexual deviant, or did he become one as he became rich? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, did
Yeah.
the power that he accrued, like make him a little bit crazy and like
I have
full of
to
himself?
feel like it's a combo where like, like some people like if you became a billionaire, right, overnight,
Which I may.
which you may, this podcast could be really successful. You never know.
Never know.
Would you become a pedophile?
I'd like to think no.
Right. So I think that there is like both the power element of like being able to have access to all of these things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to have access to, and like the power element of like just sexual assault in general. It's like, yes, they get off on it, but it's also kind of not about sex, right? It's about power. It's about dominating somebody else and repeatedly dominating other people, and then like dominating the people who you can incriminate for it. And so like I think the power is a huge element of it, but also there's got to be something underlying there, right? Because like plenty of wealthy people would be horrified by the idea of sex trafficking. Like it's not all of them.
Yeah.
No matter, like some of them are very, very evil even and wouldn't do this.
That's right. What's interesting is like you think about people's just like human biology in general, and how like as you age, your libido diminishes, or like almost everybody's does. It's a natural course of things, right? By the time you're like 70, by the time you're 70 or 80,
and then it goes down.
Say again?
You age to a certain age and then it peaks and then, it goes straight down.
But like let's just say you're 85 years old.
Yeah.
And whether you're male or female, like this is already happening to me at 50. Like I look back on my younger self and you're just like, ugh, like I was so obsessed, like insatiable. Like not like it was problematic, but like you when you're young, it's a different situation. And like if you think about these sexual deviants like Diddy or this dude at Abercrombie, like at some point they're going to get to a place in life, if they live long enough, where they're going to look back and be like, what the fuck was I doing? Like,
that's the difference, is that they're not.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen to them. They're going to think like, oh, fuck, why did I get caught? Or like, I shouldn't have done this because now I'm caught.
I'm the victim.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the victim is what they're thinking, It's like, I provided this to all these other people. They all did it too, like, and now I'm going to jail for it. Like, what the fuck? Like or even if they like know that they're committing a crime, like they're not going to feel like, oh, that was embarrassing, or, oh, I fucked up somehow. Like they're going to feel like I wanted to do that. And so I did it.
Yeah, like I don't know what the common denominator is. They've got to be sociopaths of some kind if they're just using other human beings like this. But I can't help but wonder as I sit here, this is what the second big like sex ring conspiracy to drop in the last 6 weeks. I feel like when did Diddy?
Makes me think that like this Diddy thing and then this thing, like this guy is specifically being charged with providing these men to people, with procuring them and then trafficking them. And like Diddy didn't do that. He just had the people.
Well, so who's next? Like, what's the next shoe to drop is my question. Like, who else is running one of these rings?
I mean, like, we have one from movies with Harvey Weinstein. We have one in music with Diddy.
Wait, was Harvey Weinstein running sex parties?
No, I guess not. He was just personally sexually assaulting people.
That's different.
I mean, honestly, okay, you know what I actually think it is I think that it's child actors. I think that it's going to be like, there's a lot of stuff coming out lately about that fucking guy who ran Nickelodeon. There's that documentary about being on like Nickelodeon shows and how the kids were abused. There was that, I think her name was Jenna McCurdy, who came out with a memoir. She was in the TV show iCarly and Nickelodeon. I think that like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, like just like even like people who are casting children, I think that child actors is going to be the next thing. We're going to discover that there is somebody out here who is just like prostituting child actors to people.
Jesus. I mean,
I
Wouldn't
mean,
shock
so
me.
many of them have been abused. It's just like, it doesn't make sense for it to not be systemic. There's a documentary that I can't remember the name of, unfortunately, but it's like on like YouTube. And it's like about this apartment complex called the Oakwood Apartments, where during pilot season, all of these kids will stay with their parents or with a guardian or whatever because they're trying out for pilot season. And it's this incredibly like frightening, heart-wrenching thing where like these parents are willing to let their kids do anything in these movies to get, or these shows to get into a show, like anything at all. They're like, yeah, like, oh, my kid has to get naked, no problem. Like, oh, my kid has to like whatever the fuck, like anything. And like only like two of them succeed. And it's horrific. And you can really see how it would be super easy to take advantage of someone in that situation.
So twisted.
Yeah, it's twisted. It's like completely fucked and weird. And like, I mean, if I had to guess, I would say that that's the next zone.
Wonder what their parties will be called. We've got sex events is off the table and freak offs is off.
Like child sex events. Like they're getting less creative with their
just like the most generic corporate. Like we're gonna have a child sex event, the Oakwood pool.
We're gonna have a pedophilia party.
Oh God, so fucked up.
So I mean, so speaking of sex pests, the original sex pest Woody Allen is in the news in a very. All right, so I'm going to try to take this step by step because there's like a lot of different elements here that I just don't understand. So the headline says Woody Allen shocks by showing up at sex app party. So, okay, so Woody Allen, we all know he married his stepdaughter. He's like he's a child molester. He's a bad guy. So him and his wife, Sunyi Previn, his former stepdaughter, went to this party. The host of the party, if you can believe it, is named Merkin.
Her first name is Merkin?
Her last name is Merkin.
Merkin is a pubic wig.
Yes, correct. It is a pubic wig. And I guess she wrote a profile of Sunyi for New York Magazine in 2018. So they're a friend of the Merkins.
Woody Allen and Daphne Merkin.
So now here's the part where I get very confused. So it's an app, right? And it's called, I'm trying to find the name of it.
Heavyweight literary magazine made by Field.
So
F-E-E.
This is the confusing part, right? Sorry, that's my dog barking. Hi, baby.
What the hell? What kind of sound was that?
Yeah, right? Yeah, you like that bark?
Yeah, there we go.
Dog. Here he is. For people who aren't watching, I am holding my dog.
Hi, baby dog.
Off my dog. So, okay, the confusing thing here is that the headline says he's there for a sex app, right? That's what the party is for. Yet, it's not for a sex app. It says the party marks the launch of a heavyweight literary magazine made by Field, which bills itself as the dating app for the curious.
Field is spelled F-E-E-L-D, like feel, like sort of like...
So, like, doesn't this sentence imply that the literary magazine is a dating app somehow?
I don't understand this. The app's search settings offer its members prospective sexual configurations, including MF, FF, MM, and MF, as well as FFM, MMF, MFM, and so on, all the way through to the more ambitious MFMF, MMMMM, and of course FFFF, plus, quote, watching, and perhaps counterintuitively, quote, celibate.
Okay, so the celibate thing I couldn't understand less. That doesn't make any sense. Unless you're both watching and celibate. Then, okay, you're just in the sex app for watching sex. I guess that makes sense.
You like show up and like two people are having sex and you're just like on your computer working or like reading a book or something.
Right, it's called cuck. Have you never watched porn before?
Wait, what's it called?
Cuck? Being a cuck?
Yeah, I don't know. That seems like a right-wing term to me. Don't the right-wing people...
They use it as like an insult. Everybody does now. But it means to watch your wife have sex with somebody else and you sit in the corner and you watch or you jerk off.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun, right? So this app, I guess, allows for that. But what I don't understand is that like it's a is it a literary magazine or is it an app? It says the party marked the launch of a heavyweight literary magazine made by Field, Feeld, which bills itself as the dating app for the curious. So a literary magazine is billing itself as a dating app?
The first issue of AFM, which stands interchangeably for either a fucking magazine or a field magazine, features work by big hitters including Jasmine Hughes, Allison P. Davis, and In the Cut author Susanna Moore. I don't understand.
Fuck? I don't understand if it's a dating app or a literary magazine, and like I don't understand how those two things could possibly be related.
Alan did not stay for long. He's 88, after all, but the party raged on with readings by James Ivory and Tony Tulatamudi. Like, raged? I don't think any party rages when there's readings
Especially not
at
a
it.
literary party. Yeah, no readings.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, I'm
people
sure
were
it was
out of that
raging.
party during the readings.
People were asleep, like,
Yeah.
at the party. Just like,
I mean, I just could not be more confused about this dating app that is also a literary magazine. Let's see, FEELD magazine. Like, what the fuck?
the party was put together by It Girl publicist Caitlin Phillips, who I think I follow. I think I follow her on Instagram. She was like profile.
I know.
You know her?
I do.
How do you know her?
Mutual friends, I would say. She was a friend of Gian. We like worked together to put together his little wake thing. Yeah, no, I know her. She's a publicist.
She's in charge of this sex app party that Woody Allen showed up to.
So, Caitlin, if you're listening to this, what the fuck? What the fuck is it? Could you please come up to the podcast and explain what the fuck your party was for? And just what?
Yeah, I just want to know what this magazine is and what this app is. Maybe they're intentionally trying to be confusing so people like get confused and then want to know more.
But like, I'm just confused. I want to know more. Like, I'm not gonna like. I want to know more if somebody will just tell me. But I'm not like. It's not worth Googling.
You get the app and like you open it up and there's just like Woody Allen, just full frontal.
All the options are just like
It's
authors
just-
you hate.
Just 88-year-old Woody Allen, just nude.
I mean, like, if it's... It sounds like it's not a dating app just for the literary world.
Let's
it would
hope
make
not.
more sense if it was, but that would be, like, my absolute worst nightmare. Like, that is, like, the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life. Honestly, a literary magazine and a dating app being even, like, branded side by side seems like a really, really, really terrible idea.
I don't get it. I feel like when maybe the overall effect of this show is it just like affirms my tendency to want to just like hide in my garage for the rest of my days, not engage with humanity. Like, what is going on out there? What, like, this party? What is going on? Like, I don't get it.
I couldn't understand it less. Like, okay, The Atlantic has an article here that says, Field, the polyamory dating app, made a magazine. Why?
So it's a polyamory magazine, meaning this is for people who want to have like multiple partners. That's the whole like.
Well, Brad, you were the one who read the MFM, MMF, MMMMF, MMM part of it.
Yeah, but it gave lots of options. You could do just male-female or female-female.
But I guess most apps don't offer polyamory, so it's like, I don't know. So, okay, so I guess what is happening here is that this app came out with a magazine. So it's like a dating app that is funding a literary magazine.
That's weird. That's a new angle, I guess.
That's a fucking nightmare, dude. It'd be if Grindr was sponsoring a literary magazine, I would buy it. That seems fun and funny. There is a 0% chance of me being interested in a literary magazine that is funded by a polyamory dating app. Polyamorous people are the most annoying people in the entire fucking world. It's like, okay, we get it. You're polyamorous. I'm monogamous. I don't talk about it fucking nonstop. I'm not like, wow, I really don't want to see any other dicks ever. Like, shut the fuck up. I don't, if you want to be polyamorous, that's great. I don't care. Don't tell me that, like, fucking, I don't know, monogamy is like unnatural or something like that. Like, okay, lots of things are unnatural, such as the drugs that I take every day to stay alive, and yet I take them. So what the fuck? Who cares? Like, sorry to go the fuck off. Polyamorous people are annoying. If I know that you're polyamorous without knowing you very, very well, you're annoying, and I don't want to read your literary magazine about it. I just don't.
So I'm looking at the AFM. Like, you can buy the magazine for $24. It's biannual, so there's 2 issues a year, and it's got this like
$4. Is this N+1? What the fuck? This is like, what is this, like a polyamory N+1? That's what it is.
Field is launching AFM, a print publication documenting and celebrating the many dimensions of desire, humanity, sexuality, and relationships that shape the lived experiences within and around the Field community. And again, Field is FEELD.
I never need to hear the term lived experience ever again.
The inaugural issue, Pursuits of Happiness, explores all facets of what it means to reach for joy, pleasure, satisfaction, grace, desire, or whatever other euphemism comes to mind when you think of what it means to be in pursuit or to be happy or both. The issue features original work by Hanif Abdurraqib, Michael Barron, Allison P. Davis, Lucy Elvin, Maya Fure, Juliana Huxtable, James Ivory, blah, 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 Sarah Thankum Matthews, Daphne Merkin, Susanna Moore, Merritt Tierce, among others.
I mean, it's cool enough writers. Like, I support writers, and we do not have enough literary magazines. That's really true. Like, they are just...
Who's bankrolling this?
Right.
Field is bankrolling this, but who's bankrolling Field? I want to know.
It's like a startup. Like, startups just have a bunch of money and then lose a bunch of money, and then they move on. That is how startups work.
Most of them.
All of them, until they become a massive corporation, which mostly they don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and like, maybe this will become massively famous. I don't know. But if they do, then the literary magazine is going to go to shit right away.
What kind of magazine should we launch, Mira? When are we going to, I think we have to have a spin-off magazine now from this podcast.
Should we have like a monogamy-based magazine?
I think we should have like a
monogamy-based dating app can fund our monogamy-based magazine.
A Merkin magazine, just all about pubic wigs.
We could just have like a magazine.
Merkin Monthly.
Merkin Monthly. A magazine where Brad is like, I don't know what MFMMMF means. Can you explain it to me?
That's what it should be called. It should be called
MFMFMFMMM. Yeah, and celibate.
Dude, all of this, these people, like, who are these people? I'm so exhausted even thinking about this. It's too many people. It's too much.
I'm just like, my feeling, and maybe this is whatever, don't cancel me for this feeling, but just like, go to a fucking club. Go to a fucking sex club. Get out of your apartment. Go touch grass at a dingy sex club in Hell's Kitchen. You will be able to be polyamorous there. You'll meet lots of people. There's that BDSM club in New York where a guy wraps himself in a rug and he stands in front of the bar, and then when you go and get a drink, you have to step on him. There's all kinds of weird places to go. You don't like this app situation. Is it like, because it just feels like it's going to be people who are in couples who are seeking a third. And like, that to me is always like a situation. It's really rare where both people are like, yeah, let's get a third. It's usually like one of them is like, I want to open up the relationship. And the other person's like, all right, I guess. Yeah, let's do it. And then they're hurt the whole time.
Yeah, it's so gross. I don't know, man. It's just like the idea of being at one of these clubs or bars and you go in there. Who are these people that are there? You don't, I mean, maybe.
It's fun. I mean, like, not to do the sex part, but like, that BDSM club is pretty fun. Like, stepping on the dude, he likes it. Whatever.
You've been there? You've done this? You've stepped on the dude?
He likes it.
But you went to this place just to step on the dude who's wrapped up in the carpet?
I didn't know there was a dude there until somebody was like, there's a dude there. And I was like, I don't want to step on him. And they're like, no, he likes it.
Was this in your New York era?
No, this is more, I mean, it is in New York, but this was more recently.
Oh, Jesus.
Like, probably a few years ago or something.
I feel like I would be very uncomfortable.
Yes, you would, Brad. I would love to take you to that place. It would be like We should like live podcast Brad at the BDSM club. It would be so fucking funny.
I'm just too old. It's just, I missed my window for all that. There's no way. Like,
if we ever get paid for this podcast, we're going to take that money and we're going to use it to put Brad in various situations where he's incredibly uncomfortable and I'm not. That's what we're going to do. Like, we're going to take Brad to like a Chapel Roan concert. You know, like we're going to put him like front row. We're going to get like the VIP where like everyone has to watch Brad do the hot to go dance. Like we're going to take Brad.
Wait. What's the hot to go? This is like, it's like Brad learns in excruciating fashion. Like, what's the hot to go dance?
Well, you know, Chapel Roan, the musician, Chapel Roan. We've spoken about her. She has a song called Hot to, I can't believe you don't know this. She has a song called Hot to Go. And it's kind of like YMCA where you do a dance, but I'm going to have to like back up to see. Okay. So it's like, she sings Hot to Go and you go HOTTOGO like that.
I can do that. I can do that. I thought it was like some sort of like sexualized like freaky dance or
No, it's just like a fun like YMCA style dance that you do. But like you'll have to, you know, she'll sing Pink Pony Club. You'll have to get a pink bandana and swing it in the air like, you know, 80s gay style. Like it's
I can swing it. I'll swing a bandana. I can go to a concert. I just like, you take me to some underground Hell's Kitchen sex club and I'm just going to be like, you know.
So we're going to take you to an underground Hell's Kitchen sex club is what we're going to do. I'm going to take you to like a porn carnival party. Like we're going to just like.
They're going to be like, who brought the old guy in sweatpants?
They're going to be like, this old guy in sweatpants is so funny. You guys come check out this old guy in sweatpants. You're going to be like the most popular one there just because you're freakish.
They're going to be like, step on him. He looks like he's got self-loathing. It's obvious. Step on him.
Like it. Just try it. He doesn't know he'll like it, but trust me.
Jesus. Years ago, I got propositioned. Like I was like late, last call at a bar. My buddy and I were there. I was so drunk. God, it was like I was young. And there was this older, probably in their 40s.
Wait, how old were you?
I was like 24.
Okay.
I was just young. I was young and just out for the night. This was in Paris. And this older couple, who I think was Canadian.
They were like, we saw you from across the bar and we liked your vibe.
100%. And I was so naive. I was just like, and I was like so cross-eyed drunk. And they were like, do you want to come back?
Didn't do it?
No. I was like, no, thanks. Like even in my drunkest state, I was like, first of all, these people were maybe the least attractive couple you could possibly. I mean, this was not like.
That's fair.
But even if they had been supermodels, like a guy and a girl, they were like, would you like to come back to our flat for some group sex? And I was like.
They literally said for group sex?
They literally said.
Wine?
Yeah, my friend and I was like, absolutely not. I was like, I'm really not interested at all. Sorry. Like, yeah, I would have no interest at all. Like zero.
They were a good-looking couple. Like, that's an experience that you can talk about. Like, I had a threesome with a random couple in France.
I mean, not interesting to me. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
No sense of adventure, huh?
I mean, not like that. Not with another dude. It's not my thing.
If it was two girls, would you have done it?
I mean, at that time in my life, very possibly.
Okay.
In France too. I mean, I guess it's all situational, but it's notable that like
good presence though. You were just like, I'm a little too straight for that. I can't.
In my drunkest possible state, I was like, no, that feels awkward. I'm out. I'm going home.
It feels awkward. I'm out. You have like too good a judgment even when you're drunk. Even when you're drunk, you're like, I don't want to be in this situation. I'm gone.
I'm not waking up in your apartment in like a puppy pile of like unattractive humans. I
could be stone cold sober and I would make like significantly worse decisions. Like I would be like in Paris, I'd be like, all right, like, I mean, this couple's like a 5, but that's not a 4. Let's go.
I was like, no, even if you're like a 10, I'm not going to participate in this sex event.
Even if you're a 10, that's wild. Like, okay, I've always had this feeling like if I said to you, if you had the chance to have sex with Ryan Gosling, would you do it? To hook up with him, to make out with him. Let's say no anal sex.
No, I'm not interested. No. I don't think. I mean, no.
You can hook up with Ryan, the hottest man on earth, and you can say, I made out with Ryan Gosling. And you're not going to do it?
I don't think so.
You don't want to know what it's like?
I mean, I'm just being honest. I don't. If somebody was like, "Do you want to?" I'd be like, "No."
But if somebody was like, he's right here and he's down to make out with you, will you do it?
I mean, I don't think if it was serious, I would do it. I think if it was like as a joke, if I was like out for a drink and
Well, like,
partying
you're
and
not fucking. Let's say you're just making out.
it was like a dare or it was like a sincere ask.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, on a dare, sure, like as a joke, sure, but like I'm not like it wouldn't appeal to me. I wouldn't be like, yeah, let's do this. Like
What
I
if
don't
Ryan
care.
Gosling was just came up to you and was like, "Do you want to make out for 5 minutes in the corner?"
I don't think so. I'd be like, no, thanks, dude. No.
See, that's insane to me. Like, if any of like the most beautiful women in the world came up to me and they were like, "Do you want to make out in a corner for 5 minutes?" I'd be like, "Hell, fucking yeah, I do." No matter how straight I am. Then I could be like, "I made out with Angelina Jolie in a corner," and that's cool.
I feel like
I
feel like it's different.
It's
I
not
feel like,
though. It's, you know what that is? That's toxic masculinity.
is it?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know a single girl who would not make out with Angelina Jolie given the opportunity. Not
I just think the appeal is different. And I think two women, I don't know. Is that toxic masculinity? It just doesn't seem like...
We talked before about how, like, I've done some very gay shit in my life. And I'm just, like, I'm not very gay. I'm just not, like, you know, not for a lack of trying. But, like, I would still do it. Like, Angelina Jolie? Like, come on.
I'd make out with Angelina Jolie.
Okay, but, like, that's not the question.
Like, I mean, if I had to, you know...
My feeling is that if you say, I will not make out with Ryan Gosling for 10 minutes, even if I'm drunk and it's in a corner and it's like just for fun and nothing more is going to happen, you still wouldn't do it.
All I can tell you is that it doesn't appeal to me.
But like, so for the experience?
Well, I've made out with people. I know what making out is like. No, but like, I don't.
Ryan Gosling?
No, but it's not that. It's not like it's, you know, you make out with somebody, you've made out with everybody.
Coward shit. Coward shit. That's coward shit. You would not suck it up for a minute just to have the experience, just to see what it's like to make out with Ryan Gosling. You would not let go of your heterosexuality for just a second. Your wife? I know your wife. She'd forgive you. She would
probably be laughing, but
you know,
I just, it's such a far-fetched scenario that it's hard to actually know what would happen.
It's hard to actually know what would happen, but you can imagine.
Once I was like in his force field of charisma, and he was just
this is what I'm saying.
He was looking at me.
I just feel like you're lying. I feel like if he was there and he was like, "Let's make out in a corner for 10 minutes," and I was like, "Brad, go make out with him in a corner for 10 minutes," you'd be like, "Fine, all right, fine."
Ugh.
I would hope so. I like to think that you are brave enough and not a coward.
Look, I'm a fan of Ryan Gosling's acting. I think he's a good actor. I'll say that, and I understand.
A really good kisser. He might, you know what? He might change your whole view on gender and sexuality. You never know.
Yeah, I guess you don't. I don't know, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just going to go out on a limb.
Really, you don't think so? It seems pretty realistic to me.
I feel like, yeah, it's I don't know. I can't even imagine what I would do. I feel like I would just be like, no. But I can't imagine ever being in that scenario either. It's just not it's not a possibility.
I mean, yeah, but like you can imagine imaginary scenarios. And I think you're right that you wouldn't say yes to it, but I would be very disappointed in you. I would never let you live it down.
Wow. I feel pressure.
That's right. Pressure. Big time social pressure is what you're experiencing. Peer pressure. If you ever get the chance, Ryan Gosling or anyone of his attractiveness level, if you say no, I will out you on this podcast.
Okay. Well, if it ever comes to pass, if I'm ever in that situation,
yes,
I feel like this conversation is going to reverberate in my mind. I'll see you on my shoulder, like, urging me.
It'll be both of me on your shoulder, being like, "Do it, Brad. Do it, Brad." No, Angel, just devil on both shoulders.
I mean, yeah, I don't even go out anymore. I so rarely even go out that it's like hard to imagine.
Same, honestly. I really rarely go out.
Does anybody go out anymore? I don't think anybody does. I guess some people do.
I go to my friends' houses. You know what? I watched my first baseball game the other day at Natasha's house.
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry about your Mets.
Thank you. I've been grieving for days and days.
Did you watch the clincher where the Dodgers knocked them out of the play? You did.
I watched the game before that where there was like a a beautiful victory where it was like, oh, they're gonna lose, and then they just fucking came out and like fucking dominated so hard, and we were like, Natasha and I were like, screaming, we were like, fuck Otani, like where's your fucking Otani, motherfucker? Like we were like,
I like hearing you talk sports. This is funny to me.
It was really funny. It was, I didn't have a Mets shirt, so I just got a white shirt and wrote Grimace on it. And like Natasha and her husband was out of town because he had actually taken a red eye to New York to see a game at Citi Field. And he was like on his way back.
Wow.
And
he's a big fan.
He's a big fan. He's the reason why Natasha and I became fans, because we were so endeared by like how much he loved the team. We were like, all right, that's cute. We like that.
And you don't like the Dodgers. You're an LA girl and you're not a Dodger fan.
You know what? Because I never liked sports at all. I never cared. And then Natasha's husband, Spencer, introduced me to the Mets, and they have all the whimsy. That's what it is. No other baseball team has whimsy. The Mets have like nothing but whimsy. They're like playoff pumpkin, yes. Grimace, yes. Gay Grimace, yes. Like they just are collecting talismans left and right. And it's like not even, it's like more about this like weird like culture of like fucking weird shit that they're willing to like embrace as a team. And then like they get interviewed and they're like, you know what, if we suck, we suck, but we still played a fun game, right? Like they're like the underdogs. They're like fun. No other sports team is fun. Like if like the Dodgers were like, we have all these little talismans and like we're like a fun whimsy team, then I'd be like, okay. But instead they have fucking Otani, fucking tax dodgers.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like, people are always like, oh, you live in LA. Are you a Dodgers fan? I'm like, no, I fucking hate the Dodgers. I'm a Milwaukee Brewers fan, because you really, to be honest, you form sports fandom in an authentic way when you're a child. It's hard to do as an adult.
Right. That's why I don't care about any sports team besides like the Mets now.
Yeah. You don't just show up in a town and then suddenly become a fan.
Right.
Of the local teams. Like the teams I cheer for, the teams I cheered for when I was 4. And like, that's unbreakable.
Right. Like, I don't really watch basketball at all, but I consider myself a Lakers fan for sure. Like, that's what, like, you know, my dad watched, my brother watched. Like, that's, like, what, like, I want the Lakers to win. I'll never watch it. I don't care. But, like, go Lakers.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, same. So, yeah. All right. Well, the next story is that the Taylor Swift cruise era.
So, okay.
Is underway. And I highlighted this one because I am terrified of cruises.
I am also terrified of cruises. Like, you will never catch me on a boat that big, or like any boat at this point in my life. I don't like boats. Cruises seem like death machines. I've read a lot about cruises because they scare me so bad. Did you know that all cruises have both a hospital and a jail?
I think I did know that. I feel like the reason I don't like it is
morgue.
It just feels unsanitary. I don't think those ships are clean. I don't think the rooms are tiny and weird. That's a really
funny reason to not want to be on a cruise. For me, I'm like, I'm going to die. This cruise is going to Titanic and I'm going to die and I'm stuck at sea and who knows where the fuck I am. Like, no.
So you have not been on a cruise?
God, no. Oh my God, no. I would never.
I went on one with my family in high school. It was like my mother's dream. We're like going to go on a cruise. And we went to the Bahamas. What do you call it? You embark from Miami, right?
Right.
And the weather was actually shitty in the Gulf of Mexico. And so the seas were uncommonly rough.
Oh, see, this is what I don't like.
And the boat was like, going up and down. And we get to dinner and like the only 2 people in my family who did not barf at the first dinner were my mom and I. And everyone else had such sensitive stomachs that they were like, they retired to their little cabin to just like throw up.
I never get motion sickness.
And my mom and I ended up, we're trying to make the best of it. And we went to like see the band play in like the entertainment hall or whatever. And the seas were so rough that the drummer like slid off the stage. It was I don't know. And like,
even do that in the Titanic.
Yeah. And I remember my sister and I, maybe both my sisters and I, in this tiny little cabin. The rooms were so confined and like the shower was like right next to the toilet. It was gross. And like,
it's like might as well thing.
Yeah, it's just like, well, who wants, this isn't vacation. But we watched on this little tiny TV. I mean, this was years and years ago. We watched the movie The Bodyguard on a loop because it was like raining and the seas were rocky. I still know every word to the movie The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston, Kevin Costner,
That's a classic movie.
Frank Farmer, and what was her? Rachel Marin. But that's my memory of it. And then getting sunburned on like the one sunny day and just.
I mean, something's wrong with me and I like being scared. So I like watching horror movies and things like that. And I will sometimes, if it's like, I don't know, late at night or I'm really stoned or something, I'll just like look up like scary ocean, scary cruise compilations of like big waves hitting cruise ships and shit like that. And like, that has turned me off of cruises so hard, it's unbelievable. Like, I will never get on a fucking cruise ship in a million years. No, I've seen the waves in the windows of the fucking room. Like, I'm not fucking with that. Even for a Taylor Swift themed cruise.
I mean, especially for a Taylor Swift.
Especially for a Taylor Swift themed cruise.
Like, even you, who are like, you're like as hardcore of a Swiftie as I know, but like being on a boat with a bunch of Swifties.
Dude, hell no. Even if Taylor Swift herself was on the cruise, I wouldn't go. That's insane. You couldn't pay me. Well, you could pay me, but it would take like a whole lot of money. So, okay, so this cruise, to be clear, it says in the headline cruise era, but this is not like an official Eras Tour cruise. This is not like something that Taylor is doing and promoting with her team. Like, this is like an unofficial Swiftie cruise that's happening that I didn't know about until Brad brought it to my attention. Anytime something like this happens, I instantly imagine a Titanic scenario. Like, because it's one thing to have that happen on a regular cruise, and it's another to have that happen on, like, a cruise full of people who all share this one thing. To have it be like, oh, the cruise ship full of Swifties all fucking crashed. Like, that's what feels like is gonna happen. It just feels like, I don't wish it and I don't like it, but... So, okay, so a cruise full of Swifties just set sail from Florida to the Bahamas. On Monday, they embarked from the port of Miami. There's photos of what it looks like on board, which is about what you would expect. A lot of bracelets, a lot of pink cowboy hats. The sailing Swifties are calling themselves the In My Cruise Era, the Taylor Fans Cruise Group, which is not a very catchy name.
Yeah, they got to rebrand. But
yeah, they really need to rebrand.
It says Royal Caribbean's Allure of the Seas is the cruise vessel. And the Swifties will land in Nassau in the Bahamas, and then they will take over Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas called Coco Cay. I didn't realize Royal Caribbean owns its own island.
They're taking over... Swifties are taking over a private island.
Swifties are shelling out $1,573 for double occupancy rooms.
You know what's crazy? A lot of people are paying less for this cruise than they would for the Eras Tour.
Yeah, and like, are guys allowed on the cruise, or is it women only?
I'm sure guys are allowed, but like, how many straight guys are going to go to a Taylor Swift themed cruise? Let's be real.
Yeah, what if like I feel like it's a...
If one straight man went, he would like have more sex than anybody's ever had in a several day period.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, if you're a straight guy and you're like, man, you like with these, like some incel is going to figure this out and like go on like the Taylor Swift cruise and like finally...
I mean, it's like when a dude goes to Sarah Lawrence, like, all right, you're basically like the diversity hire or whatever. And like all the girls are just going to fucking flock to you because there's nobody else.
You're the only show in town on this boat. I mean, that's it. You're in the high seas and you're the only guy on the boat.
What if they take over the island and it ends up being like a fire festival thing where there's like nowhere for anyone to stay and there's no food and everybody's fucking freaking out and like Taylor herself has to pay to get them off the island?
I feel like this could be okay. My brain is spinning. I feel like you could do a really interesting horror movie.
Yes.
About like a Swiftie cruise that just gets weird.
I mean, there's already Trapped. There's already one kind of Taylor Swift horror movie happening, or that happened, like Thriller, I guess.
Wait, there is?
I mean, it's not literally Taylor Swift, but the M. Night Shyamalan movie that came out, Trap, it's like, the idea is that like this girl's dad is a serial killer, and then there's like an Eras Tour-esque concert that he goes to with his daughter that ends up being a trap to like arrest him.
Oh my God. Yeah. And like all these people, these stories on like Dateline NBC about like it's like the woman or the man who like falls overboard at night, like never to be seen again. Like that's the
Natalie
shit.
Wood style.
Yeah. Like fuck that, man. Being like drunk on a boat and
Absolutely
toppling.
not.
Yeah,
And like, we
absolutely
know
not.
these girls are just like fucking pounding like the most candy tasting drinks, like just like Cosmos nonstop. Like, I mean, the private island thing, I'm like excited to see what happens there. Like, I will be following Swiftie Twitter very, very closely when they take over an entire fucking private island. Cause like, I've been to 2 Taylor Swift concerts and I've been to 3 Rage Against the Machine concerts and several like punk concerts that are local. And like the Taylor Swift concerts are by far the scariest concerts I've ever been to. Like, by far.
Because
Because the audience is way more aggressive, like way more intense. Like, you go to like a Rage Against the Machine concert, yeah, people are intense, people are moshing or whatever, but like, you go to a Taylor Swift concert, the men's bathroom is full of women. There are like trails of like moms and like 10 5-year-olds all holding each other's hands, and they will just like knock your ass over. It is just like they are a wall coming through. And like, there's teenage girls screaming at other teenage girls. There's teenage girls crying out of happiness, and then other teenage girls laughing at them or comforting them. It's just like everybody seems like they're about to die.
it's just like female energy at like 11.
It's just, yeah. And it's like, it's kind of beautiful for that reason. I kind of fucking love it. But also, it's like, you turn to your left, you turn to your right. There are 2 girls who are both so red-faced, you think they're like about to have a heart attack, and they're sobbing. And like, the song that's playing is like "Shake It Off" or something.
Yeah. Oh, God.
It's like, I mean, it's incredible. Like, and you know, Taylor's performing in Miami right now, so I think a lot of these girls probably went to the Eras tour and then immediately got on an Eras tour cruise.
And just dropping so much cash, because it's
so
like
okay, the 2 occupancy room is $1,500. A good ticket to the Eras tour in Miami is probably $2,000 at this point. And then like a hotel room in Miami, and then like all the stuff you pay for on the cruise, like it's gonna be like $10,000.
I don't get it. Like, I don't get like going to a concert for $2,000. I don't get it. I like, and what I don't get too is like, who's going? They're filling up an arena with people who are all paying this kind of money.
I'm telling you, we are going to see a small epidemic of credit card debt when this whole thing is over.
I gotta believe, because the same thing with like baseball. I think we've talked about this. I bitch about this all the time, but like, I want to say secondary market tickets to the World Series are like starting at like $1,500.
Oh my God, they're so expensive. I mean, even tickets to Citi Field to see the Mets, or rather tickets to Dodger Stadium to see the Mets, like in game, what was it, 3 or something like that? Not even like a game where they could have won anything. I believe it was $500 for like not even that good of seats. I didn't pay for it, but like, I had friends who went, and that's how much it cost.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And it's like, and it's sold out. That's the crazy part, is that like every seat is filled, and people are just like, yeah, I don't know where they're getting the money. Or like, if it's just rich people, I guess just rich people go to see Taylor Swift. Is that how it works?
I mean, I looked at a thread where like a popular Swiftie account posted like, how are you all affording to go to multiple Eras tour shows? Like, that is insane. Are you all rich? Every reply was credit card debt. They're like, I'm in debt. I'm going into debt. Credit card debt. Like, my generation is just like, and the generation below is just like, the world is dying. We're going to see the world die. Nothing matters. I'm going into credit card debt. Fuck it.
Taylor Swift should cancel the credit card debt of all of her fans. She could do it. She could do it with the swipe of a pen.
I agree. I think she totally should. I completely agree. I think everyone should get free Eras tour tickets.
Do you think that Taylor will ever show up on one of these boats, like a Swiftie cruise? You think she'll like surprise the fans and like she'll get like choppered in by Royal Caribbean?
Absolutely not. There's 0% chance.
If she did that, I would lose all respect for her. I'd be like, you should never descend on.
I would just be shocked. I would be like, she is unwell and like maybe needs to like go away for a while or something into a hospital. Like, I don't know. Like, that is like.
Or she'll show up at Coco Cay, the private island, and they will sacrifice a Swiftie before her to like honor her greatness.
Yeah, during one of their Swiftie freak-offs or whatever.
The man-made volcano. She'll sit atop the man-made volcano and
There's
watch.
a man-made volcano? Is that real?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. I was thinking, like, that's a weird thing to make man-made.
I'm imagining some sort of hybrid between like Coco K and Taylor Swift and like the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, where like
big boulders coming towards her.
They're playing like tribal drums, and they're like lowering a trembling Swiftie into the volcano.
It's like Wicker Man. They like put her in like a giant wicker Taylor Swift.
Taylor's just observing. They present her with like the heart of one of her most devoted fans.
There's like all of her fans are like nude in a circle, like
that's right
around her.
Yeah, it's like really weird and like pagan and occult. That's what I want. That's what's happening down there. And like, this is the other thing. Okay, so we get that like everybody's got their friendship bracelets and their like cowboy boots or whatever it is that Swifties do on this boat. Is there a dark side to it? Is there kinky shit or weird shit going on with this? Is there any kind of like dark underbelly to the Swift phenomenon?
That's the dark side to it, is that no.
It's pure.
That these people would be doing something fun, like having sex or doing drugs or anything. No. None of that. That is what is so terrifying about the Swifties, is that they are just like stone cold sober and the craziest people you ever met in your life. And I mean that with total respect. I consider myself a Swiftie, but like...
But you're not sober.
No, I am certainly not.
You're the one Swiftie who's like just
I'm the one
high.
Who does drugs.
You're like high as a kite.
Like, I mean, like Taylor Swift had such a clean image for so long, like didn't talk about drinking even for so long, like nothing. Now, you know, you can tell she's kind of doing drugs and she talks about drinking and stuff like that. But the Swifties have not adapted. The Swifties are like, oh, if I'm 21, I'll have a Cosmo and I'll get a little drunk. But like nobody's doing fun shit. It's not getting crazy for anybody in like the Swiftie universe. It is like
I feel like that's a good sign. I feel like that makes me hopeful that humanity might be evolving. That like, I'm Gen X, Mira. Do you have any idea like how much my generation drank and smoked?
I mean, like, Brad, you've known me since I was like 19.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Do you know how much drugs and smoking and drinking I've done?
Honestly,
maybe not just your generation.
I'm talking like cigarettes and like just like binge drinking. Your generation didn't do anything close. Binge drinking? Yeah?
Are you insane?
I feel like you guys did like benzos. You guys were like on pills.
I'm not a big binge drinker. I was lucky to be from a family that was like, when you're 18 and you can go to the military, you can have some wine, you can drink whatever. And I think that actually did teach me how to not go super overboard with alcohol. Drugs, on the other hand, I went very overboard with all the time.
You did? Okay. I mean, I was the same. I could drink at 18. Like once I went to college, nobody's like, you know, it's like fair game. But like, I just feel like the fact that I don't feel like younger, like my kids' generations are going to hopefully be as big a drinkers.
It is true that like Gen Z is doing less drugs than millennials. That is like, I think, a fact. I've seen some articles about it. They're like not thinking about the pandemic and like, I don't know what, but they're definitely, maybe they've seen more people die or something, but they're doing a lot less drugs than millennials were.
Yeah, everyone's got like fentanyl's a thing. Like it's gotten a lot more dangerous too. It's just
like for me, it was like we were all doing a ton of drugs and then suddenly people started dying and it was like not as fun anymore.
It takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Such a buzzkill. People start dying.
Speaking of buzzkills and people dying, I think we are on to, is this Brad Learns?
This is Brad Learns.
Brad Learns. That was our wonderful theme song. Thank you to artificial intelligence for that one. Just kidding, Brad wrote it and he sang it himself. All songs are written and recorded and performed by Brad Listi.
I cut that in my home studio.
That's right. What is your middle name?
David.
Brad David Listi. All songs by Brad David Listi.
Tom York and Rick Rubin produced.
Trent Reznor was there, but he didn't really do a lot.
He's so moody. He was just sitting in the corner. I think he was feeling left out, but Rick Rubin.
Atticus was on the phone in the other room.
Rick Rubin really opened me up and I don't know, just helped me. I couldn't access places within myself that were there the whole time until Rick showed up. And what's interesting is Rick didn't do anything. He just sat there silently. And,
that's right. And now he's the one that you have to thank for your entire music career. It's all him.
The contact high of being in touch with his aura in in real life really caused like a seismic shift.
Fuck Rick Rubin, dude. So Brad learns. So today Brad is learning about, okay, so I mean, it's a sad topic, but I think we have to address it. This week, Liam Payne, who is a former member of One Direction, and I believe had a solo career after that, although I don't know what music he made, was found dead in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, and he had fallen or jumped off of his balcony. And so we've recently gotten bits and bits of news. It was like extremely shocking and weird. Everybody was like, what in the fuck? He was very young. So we've gotten little bits of news as time goes on. We just recently got his toxicology report. So what the autopsy said basically is that he was unconscious when he fell. I don't know how they know that, but apparently he was unconscious when he fell. I don't know, because he didn't have like the blocking thing. Like you would like when you're falling down, you would naturally like block your face, and he didn't do that or something. So the toxicology report revealed that he had a lot of different drugs in his system. He had prescription medications, he had benzos, he had lots of other shit in his system, including something called pink cocaine. Brad, have you ever heard of pink cocaine?
I have not.
So pink cocaine
is pink.
It is pink.
Well, the question is why? What's in it?
So basically, okay, so ketamine, you know what ketamine is. I've
heard of it. It's the thing that killed Matthew Perry.
Yes, exactly. So it's a drug. It was originally a tranquilizer. I guess it's like a hypnotic or something now. I don't know. I don't know what the category is exactly. But basically, pink cocaine, funny story before I tell you what it is that I was a while back, a couple of years ago, I was in a billionaire's home, like a random not even like one that I remember the name of. I don't even know who it was. It was like I had a friend who was having a meeting with him, and I was there with her. He was like, he owned a startup or something like that. I'm trying to remember his name.
And he's like a capital B billionaire?
Yeah, capital B billionaire. Like he got like Bitcoin money or something like that, and like was using it to fund random startup. He seemed like he was going to go broke like really fast.
He was hosting sex events at his house. Yeah.
Honestly, probably because I was in his house and I was outside by the pool, and there was kind of like a little, not like a tent, but like a outside, I don't know, fabric cover thing. I don't know, a teepee. I don't know what you would call it. And inside of it, there was like a flog, like a leather like flog, and a blindfold. So clearly some sex things was happening, and a bag of pink powder and lines of the pink powder. Now this was like 3-4 years ago. At the time I was like, what the fuck kind of drug is this? And I was confused about it for a really, really long time. I would ask people, like, I was in this dude's house and I saw a pink drug. Like, what the fuck was it? It was cocaine. They were snorting it. I don't understand. Or it was like they were snorting it and it was pink. I don't get it. Nobody knew what it was for a long time. And then it became a thing. So it became, I guess it's always been popular, but like it got a name recently, coketamine, which is when you mix cocaine and ketamine.
That's what it is? That's what pink cocaine is?
So it's not totally. So pink cocaine is cocaine and ketamine mixed together. But I believe sometimes it's meth instead of cocaine, or it's a combo of the two. And then also MDMA.
Oh my God. So
it's like a cocktail that is like pre-mixed for you when you buy it. And it's pink just so that you can tell the difference between it and other drugs, basically. Because it all is white powder or brown powder.
No powders, no pills. That's the rule.
Or unless they're prescribed pills, that is maybe okay.
If you're taking medicine, but I'm talking about like recreational. That's what I tell my daughter. I'm just like, and she's such a nervous Nelly. She'll probably never touch a drug, but she's like, Dad, leave me alone. I'm like, no powders, no pills.
I mean, here's the drug advice that my mother gave me. And Lord knows I've done a lot of drugs in my life, but I've been safe about it. I've never had like a overdose and ever had to go to the hospital. I've like always been careful.
Yeah, knock on wood. Yeah, and like, but you don't know you don't know who mixed this powder, or maybe you do, but like,
and I was
fentanyl,
drugs at the time when fentanyl wasn't a thing yet, so that's like another thing entirely.
Yeah, you get like there was the barista, like the head barista at my local Starbucks was this like 30-year-old aspiring actress girl. so nice. And remember over in Venice when those comedians had that like after party at their house and all those people snorted cocaine and it had fentanyl in it and they all died? Or
Oh, vaguely.
like two of them died and like two of them had to be hospitalized. Like she died. She just like went out to a bar and like was hanging out with these comedians and they're like, come back to our house afterwards. And like they went back and they're like, do you want a line of cocaine? They're like, sure. And she snorted it and just keeled over and died from the fentanyl.
Jesus. I mean, it makes me realize like how lucky I was that like the time that I was doing drugs was like, and I mean, Lord knows I still do drugs, but not random powders and things like that. Because like at the time when I was doing like cocaine and random powders and things like that, fentanyl like just didn't exist yet. I mean, it existed, but it wasn't in drugs yet. And so it was like people were doing all kinds of crazy shit and it was totally safe. And now it's like every time you do a drug, you could die. Not that that wasn't the case when I was doing drugs, but even more so now. It's like crazy.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much to think about.
It's too much. What's crazy about Liam Payne though is there was no fentanyl in his drugs. He didn't overdose.
And he was in One Direction, which is a boy band.
That's correct. So One Direction is...
But he was by himself.
He was by himself. So One Direction is like where Harry Styles comes from. It's like it was a boy band.
What if one of these boy bands, like, what if they all jumped together? That would be the most like punk rock shit ever. Like they all jump to their death at once.
That would be.
There's only one. There's only one direction, and it's down. They held hands. And just leapt off their hotel balcony together.
Oh my god,
that would be the ultimate move for a boy band.
My friend saw this headline of about Liam Payne just saying like he had methamphetamine, benzodiazepine, MDMA, all these things in her system, and she was like me on a Tuesday.
Jesus, it's so I just find it so exhausting to contemplate. This guy has obviously got a drug problem, but he's not conscious when he falls. But he's like, to fall, you would have to be standing up. Like you can't. You're not just if you're not conscious, you're going to be lying down on the balcony. You're not going to be like.
That part I don't understand. How could he have fallen when he wasn't conscious? That like indicates that he was like pushed, but no one else was in the room.
Okay, so wait, here's where Brad needs to learn. Like, was he in a K-hole? What is a K-hole? Maybe he was like in subconscious.
A K-hole means you can't like move. Like a K-hole, you're just lying down. You like if he was in a K-hole, he would not be in a state to fall off a balcony for sure. And it's not like the kind of thing where you just like pass out either. It's like you like go into the K-hole and you like kind of just sit down. Like.
And I think that this guy could have been wasted and could have had like a suicidal impulse and could have like leapt, and he didn't guard himself because he would pass out on the way down. Don't you? Isn't that I've always heard that you lose if you're going to fall from a height and like slam into the ground, you lose consciousness before you hit. But that might be bullshit. I don't fucking know.
I've never heard that. I mean, they're saying basically that like if you're conscious when you fall, your body automatically, blocks you. I never heard of becoming unconscious while you were falling, but it's kind of the only thing that would make sense for this, right? Like
I think there has to be some sort of blackout that like the intensity of that experience. It's awful to contemplate, but it's like you're falling to your death and like you're going to hit the ground. Like
right. I mean,
you would think that it would shut down at some point.
Right. I mean, is it possible that he's just like on enough drugs that he was so high that he didn't block himself? He was conscious, but he was just so high that he didn't like understand like when he was going to hit the ground. Like he got like the depth perception timing situation off in his mind and therefore didn't know when to stick his hands out. Like
that's what I think. I mean, I don't know. Was he suicidal? Do we have any info on his mental health?
So his mental health was not good. So his girlfriend at the time, he's been accused of abuse by, I think, an ex-girlfriend. I'm not sure what kind of abuse, but she's accused him of abuse, which I believe the mother of his child has accused him of abuse.
He had a kid?
Mm-hmm. 7-year-old.
Yeah,
terrible. Apparently he was very, very absent though, and a problem when he was there because he was abusive to the mom. Which, his girlfriend at the time when he died, was with him in Buenos Aires she said they were supposed to be there for 5 days and ended up being there for 2 weeks. I don't remember what the reasoning was, but she said like something like she was so like when she left that she was so glad and that she felt like so trapped there and that she would like needed to get out. And she like posted about going home on Instagram. Like you could see her like on the plane eating food and stuff like that. Like she's like an influencer. So we know, and this was the day before he killed himself. So we know that she was gone, and we know that she had just left when he killed himself, basically.
And so he was alone.
So he was alone.
He didn't get like thrown off the balcony by like a Russian bookie or something. Like we didn't have like Gambling Dead or.
Nope, none of that. He was fully alone, and like he actually had texted. I can't remember if it was his ex or his current. I think it was the current girlfriend that if anything happened to him, if he killed himself, that everybody would blame her. Which, thank God she wasn't there when he killed himself. Otherwise, that would be really bad. And like that's clearly a very abusive thing to say to somebody, like unless they're going to kill you, which she clearly wasn't.
So this guy was a mess. He was a mess psychologically.
He was a total mess. He was a total mess. And like all the other 1D members, you could see kind of like distance themselves from him a little bit because he was like not just a mess, but like had always been an asshole, even pre-drugs. Like you could tell in interviews, he was just like not a very nice guy. Kind of like let the fame make him into a bit of a monster, just like an asshole.
Whatever happened to Harry Styles? I feel like he had his big moment and then he's just been gone. Maybe he just like pieced out.
You know, with Harry's house, and then it felt like he was touring for like 7 years. Like he was touring nonstop it was like every day I saw new footage from a Harry Styles concert. I was like, they're working him to the fucking bone. Jesus,
he's probably exhausted. And by the way, these boy bands talk about like a psychological crucible that's totally unhealthy.
Totally, dude. I mean, there's just like horror stories behind like every boy band.
There's always like some really like ugly like white dude who's like the Svengali of a boy band. Isn't there like that dude? He's like so gross, and he's like the guy behind like NSYNC or whatever, and he's just like clearly got like strong pedophile vibes. And
I swear the word Pearl is in his name somewhere. I cannot remember what the fuck his name is, but yeah, that fucking guy. Like, there's got to be somebody like that behind One Direction too. I maybe not. I don't know, but like,
what does One Direction mean? I guess it doesn't have to mean anything. 1D.
One Direction down.
Yeah, my daughter came home from school and she said that like the kids were like upset about Liam's death. Like it got to the schoolyard.
I mean, it's funny because like One Direction is not your daughter's era of band. It's like my
I think it was older girls maybe who were
right.
And
also they've like since then come out with like solo music and stuff like that. Liam Payne has not a huge following, but he did have solo music that he came out with.
How old is this guy? He was like in his 20s?
Yeah, I want to say, is he part of the 27 Club? Let's see. How old was Liam Payne? 31.
Damn, that's young.
Yeah, damn. He's like 1 year younger than me.
I don't know. I mean, don't do pink cocaine, kids. That's the answer. That's the moral of the story.
Make sure you have Narcan on you all the time. Test it for fentanyl. If you do use Narcan, take them to the hospital right afterwards because it's temporary and they will go back into an overdose.
But
also,
like you can test cocaine for fentanyl now. Is there like how do you do that?
Go to the pharmacy, ask for a fentanyl test.
And it's like what, like a piece of paper?
And like you mix it in with something and then you like put it on a piece of paper and it changes color or something like that.
That seems like a lot of work.
Yeah, but it's better than dying.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it's like the fact that you got to do that just means you're not, don't do it.
It's a good thing to do if your friends are doing cocaine, because like they're just going to want to do the cocaine that they purchase. But if you're not doing the cocaine, you can kind of be like, let me test it first, please. Let me do it. But more importantly, Narcan. Carry Narcan always.
That's for the opiate overdose.
That's for an overdose, exactly. Carry Narcan. Also, the best drug advice that my mom ever gave me was don't do heroin, but if you're going to do it, smoke it, don't snort it, don't shoot it.
No pills, no powders, no pink cocaine.
No pills, no powders. Or if you do pills and powders, it does happen. Test it for fentanyl. If you see other people doing the same baggie of cocaine and they're not overdosing, that's better than just doing it like without anybody else doing it. But even then, test for fentanyl.
I like went through a phase in my early 20s where like the people around me I had a very brief drug phase. And then after that, I was kind of a bore, but like I would go out with these friends of mine and like everybody would be doing like MDMA and like doing cocaine. And I was just the guy who would have like I don't
A
know.
beer.
I'd smoke a little weed and have a couple drinks. Like for people out there, it's actually lovely to be the person who's had like 4 cocktails and you're surrounded by people on MDMA. They're all giving you massages.
Until it hits a certain time of the night, or
And
if
then,
you're a girl and you don't want dudes touching you.
and then you just go to bed and everybody else is like up, like and their jaws are grinding and they're like jabbering at each other. But like, it's actually funny to be like the one drunk person with a bunch of people on MDMA.
It's funny, especially if you have like a topic that like you want someone to like really listen to you about. If you get a person on cocaine and like you get the right topic, like they will be the best listener. They'll be so active. They're going to be like, yes, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm responding. I'm like rephrasing it so that you know that I understand it. Like they're like active listeners.
Yeah. Or they'll just, they'll talk to you about their inner life for
True.
like an hour straight, like talking at like hyper speed. But
yeah, right, exactly. Talking at hyperspeed currenting the whole time.
well, I'm sorry, I'm saying, Liam Payne. I don't know anything. I didn't know his music, but I mean, it sucks to think of this guy being in such trouble and then ending so tragically. But it's, I guess it's the way of the world when it comes to pink cocaine. I mean, cocaine. I mean, what a way to go. He was doing pink cocaine, fell off a balcony.
Other shit too, I guess. He was like also doing benzos and painkillers and like regular cocaine and crack and like, I mean, he was really doing it up in that hotel room.
It's so exhausting to think about. How do you manage your life when you're putting that kind of cocktail in your system daily?
I mean, I guess what he's thinking is, how do I manage my life without putting that kind of cocktail in my system daily?
That's right.
You know, that's the issue is, I mean, yeah, it's, I do drugs. I like drugs, but not like that. I like to do drugs and have a nice time. I think that honestly is a good barometer, like a good rule of thumb, is if you're doing drugs and you're having a nice time and you're not hiding it, you're probably okay. If you're doing drugs because you feel like you're going to have a bad time without them, then that's probably not good.
Yeah. I guess that's right. And like, I don't like how like cocaine people usually like hide in bathrooms and
I don't like it. It's like, it makes it feel like weird and worse than it like should be. Like, I think
if you're going to do pink cocaine, do it out in the open at the party. Just
I guess
go for it.
Expensive and people don't want to like share it or whatever. Like, but that it just feels sus.
Sus.
You ever heard that word? This could be another Brad Learns.
Have I heard of that word? It's like this. Every other word out of my kid's mouth is like, it's sus. River's always like, dude, it's so sus. I'm like, this skibbity toilet shit. I don't know what the fuck it even is. I don't know what it is.
Tyler introduced me to skibbity toilet, and I watched a video, and I still don't know what it is.
By the way, it's like Michael Bay, I read, is going to make a skibbity toilet movie. It's like one of the most valuable entertainment properties in the world right now.
Tyler, can you explain what skibbity toilet is?
What?
Can you explain what skibbity toilet is? Get closer to the mic.
Nobody knows. That's the whole.
He's going to be able to explain better than we are, though. It's, what is it, Half-Life?
It's like machinima. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's like using a video game engine to create like little movies.
Okay.
And so it's that, and the premise is there's like a ongoing battle between people who come out of toilets.
Okay, there we go. I'm lost at this point.
I mean, like,
And like
this is
surveillance cameramen.
right, it's like dudes with surveillance camera heads, and then like long heads coming out of toilets, and there's some kind of war happening between the two.
So, and this is the point at which I wish we could bring somebody in to try to convince us that the culture is not in a suicidal death spiral. Like, if this is what's popular, like,
this
we're all
is where I
fucked.
want to bring your daughter in, just off camera, to explain in a better way than Tyler just did what Skibbity Toilet is and why it's popular.
My son is the one.
Or your son.
It's a very boy. I feel like it's a lot of boy energy in that thing. But like, my son is 9, and he's at the point now where he likes to, like, he watches YouTube on his iPad, but he always wants us to build him a fort. So like, he'll have a blanket over his head so he can watch his iPad. But I think like Carrie and I are like looking at him, and he just looks like a ghost, with a blanket over him. And we're like, is he watching porn in there? Like, what's going on? He doesn't want us to see what he's watching. What's that?
It's always just Skibbity Toilet. He's like, my parents won't understand.
I don't know though. He likes
He's
horror
right.
things. He likes like horror. I think Skibbity Toilet has some kind of horror
Yeah,
vibe,
it
but
does.
I think he's into like, I don't know what it is, but he's getting to that age where he wants to like watch like transgressive like horror films. And
Me and him, we could get along. I know lots of transgressive horror films, and I fucking love them.
yeah, but I think it would, the real ones would scare him at this point.
Yeah, you
It's
got to
like
start like simple, you know,
Like-
like you like Star Wars, like that's a good starting place. You know, there's battles or whatever, but
we're there. We're there. We watch Return of the Jedi because that's his favorite one every single night.
oh wow, you probably
like-
know every word to it.
If I never see another fucking Ewok for the rest of my life, I will be a happy man.
There's, I had a lot of movies like that when I was little that I would just watch over and over and over. And to this day, I watch movies over and over. Like certain movies I'll watch 3-4 times just because it's comforting and I like it. But like, I think about that sound is my dog drinking water, by the way. I'm not peeing.
It's all right.
I think about the movies that I watched over and over when I was little, and I'm like, oh, I was doomed from the start. Like it was like Ghost World. I watched until the tape broke. Legally Blonde, watched until the tape broke. Like Spice World, nonstop. Every Japanese Godzilla movie, nonstop. I watched it nonstop. I mean, like I was like Some Like It Hot I went into kindergarten and everyone asked, like, it was like, go around and say your favorite movie. And I said Some Like It Hot.
The Marilyn Monroe with Jack Lemmon and what's his name?
And
Tony something?
Tony Curtis.
Tony Curtis, that's right.
Yeah, where they dress in drag to get into Marilyn Monroe's band.
Yeah.
When I was 5, it was my favorite movie. So
It's a funny movie. I can see how a kid could think that's funny.
I still love that movie. I think that's a fucking great movie. But,
Yeah, Billy Wilder.
that was my mom's Star Wars. She was like, Jesus fucking Christ, if I have to see this movie one more fucking time, I'm going to blow my head off. To this day, she can't watch it.
What did I watch? I guess I watched a lot of Star Wars as a kid.
See, it's
I
genetic.
watched, what movie I watched over and over again as a kid was, oh God, what was it? I mean, Summer School, the Mark Harmon movie, and then there was the Bill Murray. I watched a lot of Bill Murray's, but there was one where he was at a summer camp. What was it called?
Bill Murray.
It was maybe Bill Murray's first ever movie where he was like the cool camp
So
counselor.
this is where the Bill Murray love comes from. It's like, it's young, deep-seated.
I cannot tell you like how much I idolized him. I thought like that's
so
what
funny.
that's what you've got to be. You've got to be him. I'm always looking for instructions. My whole life I've just been looking for instructions on like how to be, and I'm like, okay, this seems to be working for him. Like, and yet he seems to be having fun.
See, it was the same for me, except for me, it was Enid from Ghost World. I was like, okay, Enid from Ghost World, the like leopard mini skirt, like the random band shirt, the big glasses, like the bangs. Like I think I kind of modeled my the like dark sense of humor. Like
Which one was she? Who played her?
She was played by, oh my God, Tyler. Who played Enid in Ghost World?
Was it Thora Birch?
Thora Birch. That's
All right.
right. You and Tyler said at the same time.
But it was her and Scarlett Johansson. Okay,
exactly,
yeah.
And Scarlett Johansson. It was I liked it because it was based on the R. Crumb comic, which was from
Klaus.
Klaus. Thank you. I almost really embarrassed myself. It's from the Daniel Klaus comic, 8-Ball, which was like a series of different like vignettes, and Ghost World was one of them. And my mom owned like a beautiful box set of all the 8-Ball comics. So she's a big Daniel Klaus fan. And I would request that she just read Ghost World to me repeatedly, just the Ghost World part, none of the rest. And so the movie came out and I was like, yes, I want to watch this over and over again.
That was your jam. That was
Yeah.
it. Formative.
And now I'm a fucking freak and mentally ill.
It's gonna
And a
drive.
big Bob Balaban fan.
It's gonna drive me crazy. Hang on a second. I want to tell you what this movie is. Bill Murray summer camp movie.
See,
it's called Meatballs.
Meatballs? I've
had-
never even fucking heard of that.
You had Ghost World, and I had Meatballs.
I think that really says something about our adult personalities, to be honest.
All right. Well, I think we've covered it. I mean, I feel like we've really done our work today.
I think so too.
Deliver to the people an exacting and thorough and insightful assessment of the culture at this moment in time in
That's
October of 2024.
This week in pop culture. And next week will be our Halloween episode. And I'm saying this on the podcast because I'm going to wear a costume. Brad, if you don't wear a costume, I'm going to look like an idiot. So everybody tweet at Brad and tell him that he has to wear a costume.
Oh my God, that's a lot of pressure. And if you have any thoughts, by the way, we need to read mail soon. We've been getting some mail, but we keep forgetting to read it. So next week, maybe we'll read some mail from people.
Yeah, blame Brad for that. He's in charge of the letters. I don't do work.
Okay, look at that. Mira asserting her power.
That's right, asserting my power and lack of power, saying I don't do anything. Blame Brad.
Just blame me. Well, it's good to be with all of you out there listening. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Brad Listi.
And I'm Mira Gonzalez.
And we will be back next week.
Bye-bye.